Carson here at the photo booth with a little bit of a product review, a little bit of comparison, a little bit of speculation about the upcoming year based on some rumors that are swirling around right now. But that's in the third segment of this video because this is a professional media establishment and we know how to set up a tease. Do not skip ahead in the timeline. Up first, thanks to my pal DJ for keeping an eye out for me while he was out hunting for toys. I was able to get my hands... This is going to be tough. I was able to get my hands on both of the new McFarlane Toys Superman figures, regular and animated. And look at this, we're already doing a product demonstration at how well this thing stands. Now, in the defense of this action figure, my booth is about ready for a redo here. The foam core that's underneath here needs to be replaced. The paper in the back here needs to be replaced as well. So don't blame it entirely on these guys if I cannot get them to stand properly. I also don't like using stands. Like, I want my figures to just be able to stand when I pose them and take pictures and stuff. I want to be able to just see the figure by itself, not on a stand or anything. The one that I didn't think was going to stand at all actually stood just fine. So I'm a big Superman fan. And given the choices in that first wave, animated Superman, regular Superman, animated Batman, regular Batman, Joker Who Laughs, Batman, Harley Quinn, Nightwing, some other stuff, Green Lantern, animated, there it is. I knew that I would be at the very least, I would want to get the regular and the animated Superman. Here we go. To add to my, drawer full of Superman figures, even if they weren't the best figures ever, the best interpretations of those particular versions of those characters, getting them a week ago was apparently a bit of luck because they're actually street dated for the 19th of January, which as of this video is still a week away. I've been in a few Targets and Walmarts now since then and have seen that they've all done their seasonal resets, their tags on the hooks and shelves for this wave of figures, but nothing is actually out on stock yet. So if you are looking for these, just wait one more week. If you follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy, I posted some pictures and made a few comments about them. Here's what I think all together here. I do like this figure. It is not without faults. In here we have the earlier this Millennium Justice League version of Superman. This is just a 5 POA figure. This is the DC Collectibles version that I think it was available in the Justice League box set as well as individually, or maybe with Lois Lane or something. I don't know. Somebody, one of you friendly viewers, sent this in to me, and I'm super thankful for it, even though I can't remember who actually sent it in to me right now. And then, of course, this is the McFarlane one over here. So in terms of articulation, barely any more best. In terms of accuracy to the cartoon, I don't know, like over here somewhere, but still pretty good. Just in terms of action figures, like, I want more posability. So I do dig this. They made some choices here, and I applaud them making some choices, even though some of the choices came out weird. I don't love the flourish on the cape, but I don't actually mind it that much. I'm kind of in the middle on it, a little wishy-washy. Overall, pretty good look here. The posability on this is better, but there's really not much to it. The hips are weird. The ankles, the hip, like, you can't really get that much out of it. It's still primarily going to be standing on your shelf in that, Bruce Timm, the sort of Paul Dini, that Timm-verse pose, which I get and I like, and I still love this figure, but there's just so much more you can do with this one as far as personality and character and articulation and posing and all that stuff, the stuff that you want out of an action figure. This torso crunch here, not great. Hopefully they're going to get better on this stuff. Weird choice to go double jointed here on the knees, but only single on the elbows here. I did have to cut. It's got this, I would pull this out, but this arm is on a pin, and then there's a ball and socket in here that the pin sticks through, and so you're getting this whole range of, it's a different approach to the butterfly joint. We've seen McFarlane do it on their Fortnite figures as well. Mine was stuck here, and I actually had to heat this up, pull the pin out, cut it apart in here to actually get this ball and socket joint to move freely. It also missed the foot, missed the pin here, and so this... If I needed one reason to not have toe articulation, it's because if you miss the pin, it looks terrible. And then also, especially on a figure like this, man, you just don't need the toe articulation. You're never going to pose it with that. All it does is serve to be another weak spot that prevents it from maintaining its balance and standing up properly. He comes with 2 different sets of hands, which is great. The biggest complaint is the choice they made here on the head. It looks like a helmet. It's weird. From the side, it doesn't look that bad. From the front, it looks like a mullet, and it's just not great. So overall, I do like this figure. It may not be the best interpretation of the character ever, but I still do dig it. And similarly with the comic-based Superman here, this is the NECA Aliens versus DC 2-pack Superman that came out just last year. I put it in my top 10 for the year. Thought it was one of the best Superman figures that has ever been made, ever released. But I gotta say, this is some competition for it. This new Superman is really, really nice, and I wasn't sure at first. The pictures didn't really sell me on it. Like I said, as a Superman fan, I knew I was going to grab it just to give it a shot and see if I liked it. I love the cloth cape on this thing a lot, even though I know over time it may not actually hold up that well. It's going to get dusty and dirty. It may get ripped. It may pull away from the figure. I hope that doesn't happen, but it could happen. I just love the way it looks draped on the figure like that. The plastic cape does give it a bit more life, a bit more movement when you're, posing it in pictures and stuff. And I've posted, pictures twice now of this figure, really trying to give it some expression and show what you can do with this and push those joints to, the point where they almost collapse. You got a weird sort of gap in here. Again, single jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He's got a little bit of a sort of a hunch kind of look to him, but for the most part, you can pose this guy up real nice. The neck joint's a little weird. It's like a double barbell in there. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with this, and I found that I've actually liked it more. The more I've handled it, the more I've played with it, the more I've posed it and taken pictures of it, the more I've liked it and the more excited it's gotten me for this entire run of McFarlane figures. I'm not going to say that this is better than the NECA one. It's like, and it's common for action figures, like, there's Jim Lee and there's, Todd McFarlane, there's Art Adams and there's Frank Miller, and there's all the different styles. And you're going to have, aesthetic choices that you like more on one than you do on the other. I like both of these equally. He's way more super ripped. He's bigger. He's got the sort of separate metallic, wider, bigger S shield, a little bit more sterner face, slightly different hair. It's like there's all these minor aesthetic differences. But I like them both, and, I don't need to actually pick one or the other to say which one's the best, which one should I have in my collection, because I got both. So if you're trying to decide which one you want to get, it's going to be way easier to get this McFarlane one. It's cheaper. It's going to be on shelves all over the place. NECA, you're going to have to play secondary market prices and hunt that thing down on Amazon or eBay or whatever. If Todd McFarlane is watching this video, probably, hey, maybe consider cloth capes. I would prefer it. I don't know if anybody else wants it, but you'd make me happy. And that's really the only collector I care about. As far as the articulation scheme on this goes, if you've been collecting any of the McFarlane Fortnite figures, the scale, the size, the articulation scheme, it's not really any surprise. So that's my clever segue to look at some McFarlane Fortnite stuff. So look, I don't play Fortnite, but then I don't play like any games right now. It's not something that I don't dedicate much time to it. So if I am playing, it's either Star Wars Battlefront 2 or killing some time in Just Cause 4, or this new game where you just ride a bike through the mountains like downhill, and it's really simple graphics and it's got really good ragdoll physics. I don't remember what it was called, and I laugh every time I crash. But if you do play Fortnite, you may be one of my nephews. You may be someone I know who streams. You may just like it. It's the biggest game in the world right now. So yeah, it's everywhere. And yeah, I'm annoyed by those dances too. But game aside, it has blessed the action figure industry with a bounty of amazing action figure designs. Producer Greg and I had a conversation one time about like, what are kids collecting these days compared to, the things we collected action figures as a kids. And he was like, it's game skins and DLC, and looking at a game like Fortnite, you're like, yeah, that's totally true. And then they went ahead and made action figures anyway for the rest of us who aren't playing the game. And the craziest part is that there are 2 different companies, making Fortnite figures right now. McFarlane Toys are the 7-inch figures. This is Hybrid on the left, and Jazzwares is doing 6-inch figures. This is the Infiltrator? The Visitor, sorry. The differences, other than the obvious scale difference, is the way they handle the characters, the sort of interpretations as far as the aesthetics are concerned. McFarlane tends to be very slightly more, I don't want to say realistic, but a little bit more realistic. Jazwares tends to be a little bit more on the, cartoony kind of animated side, but it's really, really subtle. I don't think it's particularly overt. And then, some character designs, Skull Trooper, Peely, they're so similar that there's really not much difference. And it's just going to come down to, which presentation do you prefer better? Which articulation scheme, which scale, do you prefer? That's all. I personally have been picking and choosing characters, just whichever character happens to appeal to me at that moment. Yeah, it's like I like both lines, and I've picked up designs that I like in each line that suits me. I don't care if they match each other or the rest of my collection. They're just awesome in and of themselves. And so I wanted to talk about this not only to defend Fortnite action figures in general, or the lines, not only to expose them to some of you who may not have already been aware of them, but to also use this as an opportunity to segue into some rumors about action figures that could be in the year ahead, or potentially years ahead. Because last week, there was a rumor that Jazwares, the folks making these 6-inch, and they also have a 4-inch line of Fortnite figures, that Jazwares had acquired a G.I. Joe license. Obviously, speculation went right to, they're making 6-inch G.I. Joe figures, because some of these guys, look like they could be G.I. Joe figures. If this guy, isn't a Dreadnought, surely he was at the recruitment meeting hoping to be. And it's possible. It seems unlikely. Hasbro knows how to make 6-inch figures just fine. Between Marvel Legends, Black Series, and Power Rangers, they know what they're doing. What that Jazwares license is, I do not know, but Toy Fair is next month. So we will get some answers by then at the latest. That was last week. This week, the rumors are that Hasbro is launching a 6-inch line of G.I. Joe figures with an initial wave of Duke, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Roadblock, and Destro. And with a Snake Eyes movie coming out this October, it would make sense that Hasbro would be looking to get the brand back on the shelves ahead of the movie in advance of toys related to the movie itself, heading into holiday 2020. And I should have just probably put this figure up here first. This is Jazwares Fortnite. The character's name is Havoc, but it's Firefly. I'm sure Hasbro can't fully copyright the idea of a guy in city camo with black gloves and stuff. And I mean, the guy's got a bomb on his back, and he looks like a saboteur. So we have a pretty good idea of what G.I. Joe would look like if for some reason Jazwares was actually rolling along here with a 6-inch G.I. Joe license. But it's like, why 6-inch? Why not 4-inch? It's the popular scale right now. Like, I mean, not for nothing, but we've got the 40th anniversary of G.I. Joe: Real American Hero. I believe is 2022. So we're 2 years away from that, and everything up to this point, other than sweet Sigma 6 and a few random things, most of it has been 4-inch scale, and that's what collectors were into. But that's also what the sort of industry was at. Marvel Legends has been rolling out since 2003. We're in like the 17th year of Marvel Legends. I know there was a break in the middle there, 2 different companies, I get it. But it's pretty well established at this point that 6-inch is the mainstream, and that's what people are looking to do. Black Series, Power Rangers, I mean, that's what people are looking for. Vehicles, yeah, I don't see any reason why if Hasbro is rolling out with G.I. Joe, I don't see any reason why they couldn't roll out some vehicles. They've been doing vehicles, small vehicles, in Star Wars. I mean, they did that TIE Fighter. They did that First Order TIE Fighter. I don't know if that was if they were completely happy with the results on the sales on that thing, but they made it. I didn't get one. I'd like to. It's still a chance I could get one at some point. But they made that thing, and I, stunned that they put it together, put it out on the market, made it happen. It would have been nice if it had done a little bit better, but whatever. It sets a precedent, that's for sure. But they've been doing vehicles, motorcycles, dewbacks, you know, the land speeder. It's out there. It's definitely something. I mean, you could easily see Trouble Bubble, the Ram, Serpentor's Air Chariot, Zartan's Swamp Skier, the Coastal Defender. I mean, easily you could see all of those vehicles happening. You know, which characters, hey, start at the beginning, give me the marquee stuff, roll in the troop builders here and there, just keep going. As you know, when you get to Hydro Viper and Budo, you know, maybe we'll talk and see where things are going. I'll still be happy, but I don't know if it'll be a mainline thing. But then again, you could roll out, I mean, this guy's a lizard man. Like, there's nothing in G.I. Joe that's more outlandish than this. If this is working, if Marvel Legends are working, there's nothing in G.I. Joe that can't work. Now, how accurately military they're going to be, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll see where that goes. You know, why now? Obviously, like I said, 2 years away from the 40th anniversary. We're months away, in theory, from G.I. Joe's release. I think that's supposed to hit in October. Not G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, the movie. But both Star Wars and Marvel, you know, key properties for Hasbro right now, are in precarious positions, having completed their main arcs. You know, this first 10 years of Marvel, we've got, you know, characters that are no longer available. Your big three are out. I mean, I know Thor's still around, but we'll see. Cap and Iron Man are out. We don't really know what the rest of the Marvel Universe is going to look like going forward. I don't think it's going to be as big as it has been. You know, Star Wars Episode 9, Mandalorian's looking great, but Season 2's, you know, it's going to be some time before Season 2 hits. It's going to be some time before Obi-Wan hits. And it's going to be the time before another movie hits. So where's that action figure market at for Star Wars? So you got to fill it with some stuff. You know, where do those toy brands go now? You know, is Power Rangers going to fill in that space? Is G.I. Joe going to fill in that space? It's not Overwatch, that's for sure. So there's been whispers for years about Hasbro trying to get their shared universe off the ground. Was Bumblebee's success the start of it? Will G.I. Joe factor into it somehow? Is Mask up next? You know, it's just, time will tell, but you know, it's easy to see how Hasbro is more than capable of putting out a line that includes small scale vehicles, build a whatever potential, who knows. But again, we'll know more in a month. New York Toy Fair begins February 22nd. If we don't know more before then, we will most likely know that weekend. Fingers crossed, everyone. Thank you for watching this and all of our videos. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/ToyGalaxy. Let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. If you're in for all of it. I was trying to think today, like, what characters would I not go for? Who would they have to get to before I was like, I don't know if I'm in for that. I think it was Dr. Mindbender. I'd probably pass on him, but other than that, I'd probably grab everybody. But let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Later.